So your business isn't high risk. Can you still have a merchant account problem? Julian has a $50 million company. As a direct response marketer, have you run into merchant account problems?
Yes, and we talked about it in person. We've had all sorts of merchant account issues, man. I mean, I got my first mid or merchant account in 2010. We've made mistakes, in the merchant account game. Like some advertisers, they have one Stripe account or whatever, and they like blow it up really big and they never have any issues, things like that. In the arenas that we play in, typically there are higher refund rates, higher chargeback rates, right? And the merchant account game, we were talking before about like playing defense, right? Like as your business grows and protecting yourself from vulnerabilities. It didn't take me long to realize years and years ago that merchant accounts, it might be, for at least in our arena, might be the biggest vulnerability. Point is some fucking dick behind a desk that's like, oh, this guy's selling a product that teaches gay guys how to bang straight guys? Axum. We had that happen, by the way. We were approved. We were running really good volume for like 6 months. Then the wrong guy, got hired in the risk department at the acquirer or something, or at the processor level, and boom, we just like got shut off. I was like, what the hell, man? That's messed up. So it didn't take me long to realize, I've got to learn, like, no black boxes. That's another like business kind of mantra that we follow. Like, I want to understand everything, at least in every aspect of my business, well enough to where I can hire the right person or make some kind of strategic decisions about it. And that is, I think, possibly the biggest vulnerability, because if you make a mistake, like, your whole business is in somebody else's hands. And in our world, a lot of agents, they operate in obscurity, right? They don't tell you all the fees. They say, oh, I'm going to give you a great deal. But then you actually crunch the numbers on your statement and you see, holy shit, you take all your fees and you divide it by your gross revenue that you ran through, and you realize these guys are taking 10% of my top line revenue. Okay. So like if you have a 20% margin to your business, the bank, or really the broker plus the processor plus the acquirer plus Visa, MasterCard, they're your 50-50 business partner, like in the high risk world where we tend to operate. So very quickly I realized big vulnerability. So I've been doing it for 12 years now. I don't claim to be a master, but I know more than the average like business owner, I think, about it. And it's because of the vulnerability that it represents and the opportunity to gain margin. Like if you like have your merchant accounts like set up right, you're going to have a higher, all this better than I do. You're going to have a higher cart page conversion rate because you're going to have less declines, right? A higher approval ratio, which is huge to the bottom line. You're going to have less chargebacks, less fees. You're going to be paying less to the banks. If you negotiate the right deal, maybe you have no reserves, right? So all these little levers you can pull with the right relationship and the right information to squeeze more margin out of your business. So yes, I'm also a merchant account nerd, Master Brad.
Well, you said something that I thought was kind of interesting that isn't highlighted very often, because you use the language squeeze more margin out. But one of the things that you illustrated was, I think most people when they hear that think about, especially in credit card processing, are like, well, what's my rate? Let me get a better rate. This is what, usually more novice business owners say. That's the language. But what you pointed out was, if you have the right merchant account provider set up, improving your decline rate is a way to increase your margin, right? It's very common once people get the ball rolling with business years in for their decline rates to start increasing, right? Instead, another way, if 100 people come to your page and try to check out, at one point in business, maybe 95 of them got approved. And then over time, that goes down to 88 getting approved. And when you're really aggressive in marketing, that can slip further. And those are things that it's not because the person didn't have money on their card. It's because somebody in the payment chain is proactively declining the transaction, thinking that it might be fraud.
Yeah.
And so those things are really important when you get into high velocity businesses like yours, where you're selling a whole bunch of lower dollar amount products.